For this activity, you will need a sheet of large paper or 2 sheets of letter-size paper that can be taped together on the short ends. You'll need to have plenty of room to create your timeline. You will also need some colored markers or pencils. Does everyone have paper handy and some markers? Great. To review more in depth how to create your timeline, please follow the link in the chat. Is everyone ready? Wonderful. For the first step, you will need to turn your paper sideways so that the long side runs across the top horizontal, like this. Great. Now, draw the base of your timeline by making a horizontal line across the entire page, leaving a 3-inch margin at the top of the page, like this. Next, you can draw a short vertical line at the far left side of your timeline and write your date of birth under that line. Repeat this by making another vertical line on the right side of your timeline and mark today's date at the bottom of the last vertical line.
Now, let's start filling out our timelines using a series of prompts. After each prompt, you'll have roughly 5 minutes to write short notes to document or draw a symbol to represent each experience on your timeline before we move on to the next prompt. Don't worry if you don't finish. We invite you to keep working on your timelines after tonight's session in preparation for our day together tomorrow. You'll want to use one color throughout today's timeline session. Okay, ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's go. Our first prompt is, what were the personal, social, and cultural circumstances into which you were born? Draw a symbol of this on your timeline where it starts next to your birth. What kind of circumstances were your society and country experiencing when you were born? Like war, depression, an economic crisis, a boom time? Draw a symbol of this on your timeline, showing how long the period lasted. You'll have about 3 minutes to write on your timeline.
Hey, this is so interesting. Okay, our next prompt is, how did these social and cultural circumstances, both personal and in the larger world, influence your assumptions about the world and your place in it as you were growing up? Do you still hold any of these assumptions? Did you experience any major changes in your understanding of the role of women as a child, youth, adult? If so, when? Where? Mark these points on your timeline with a symbol or a picture and date. How did the changes affect your view about what you thought was normal or acceptable, or what you took for granted? Mark a note of these assumptions and how they evolved on your timeline up until today. You have 3 minutes.
Wonderful. Next prompt. As you were growing up, what was your attitude about being a girl or a woman? How has this attitude changed over time? When and why have these changes occurred? Think of key moments in your life when you received either affirmation or were devalued because of your gender. Who offered the affirmation or devalued you? What feeling did you experience? How have these experiences shaped your own concepts of what a woman is and who she is supposed to be? You have 3 minutes.
Awesome. We're almost done now. Mark on your timeline when you first came to grips with what it meant to be a woman. What happened? What did you realize? Were there other events related to your understanding of being a woman? Mark these on your chart with symbols and appropriate dates if you can remember them. When did you realize that there were societal, cultural, and religious differences between men and women? What happened and how did you feel? Add a symbol or picture and rough date to record this. Are there other important learnings or experiences to put on your timeline related to the development of your understanding of being a woman? If so, add this to your timeline as well. You have 3 minutes.
Friends, what did you notice when making your timeline? Make sure you bring your timelines to each plenary session this weekend so we can continue to add to them and reflect on our own journeys.